The Panther, a tank that even historians today can't quite decide whether it's a technological masterpiece or an expensive yet useless distraction from tanks that were proven to work like the Stug 3. With a 75mm gun that's more effective than the Tiger's 88 and sloped frontal armour that bounces shells like it's invincible. But how much of this is actually true? The Panther was born out of a project started in 1938 to replace the older, increasingly more vulnerable Panther 3 and 4 fleets. The initial requirements of the VK20 series, which is a Panther prototype, was a fully tracked 20-ton vehicle. It was later increased to 30 tons as a direct result of encounters with Soviet T-34s and KV-1s. Up armouring was common while in the design phase of German tanks, as a man whose name I'm not allowed to say had an obsession with bigger tanks with more and more firepower and armour. This idea is proven by Albert Speer's words in his autobiography. The Tiger had originally been designed to weigh 50 tons, but as a result of the Austrian paten's demands, it had gone up to 57 tons. We later decided to develop a new 30-ton tank, whose very name, Panther, was to signify greater agility. Though light in weight, its motor was to be the same as the Tiger's, which meant it could deliver superior speed. But in the course of a year, the Austrian patent once again insisted on clapping on so much armour and large guns that it ultimately reached 48 tons, the original weight of the Tiger. However, these size increases also increased the price to go up to 117,000 Reichsmarks, and two designs were reviewed from January to March 1942. Eventually, the prototype was selected, and by the end of the war, almost 6,000 were made. Panther was a medium tank designed to counter the T-34, which gives the two a lot of similarities, most obviously the sloped armour. Sloping the armour greatly increases the chance of a ricochet and the effectiveness of the armour, as the incoming rounds have a whole lot more steel to get through. Compared to Allied mediums of the war, the Panther had a weight of 44 tons and frontal armour of up to 80mm thick, angled at 55 degrees, which makes it closest to the size of any Allied heavy. And if you want a more detailed look at the armour compared to the guns of the time, I'd recommend War Thunder, and no, they don't sponsor me. It was 8.16 meters long including the main gun, 3.27 meters tall and 3 meters wide. To arm this beast with a medium, it was given a 75mm KWK-40, which was extremely effective and had better armour penetration than the Tiger's 88, and had two MG-34s for anti-infantry. To propel this absolute monster of a vehicle forward, it was given the same engine as the Tiger, the V12 Maybach HL230P30 engine. It gave the later variants a top speed of 46 km an hour on the road, though it was notably unreliable in earlier models and often caught fire. Suspension consisted of front drive sprockets, rear idlers, and 8 interleaved rubber road rim wheels, which gave it torsion bar suspension that was effective, though on the eastern front mud often froze between the wheels and it was a whole pain to fix it. The Panther was primarily designed for the eastern front and was seen as a necessary part of Operation Citadel. However, the tank was delayed several times due to mechanical issues and to build up the force. This unfortunately led to the last Panthers being delivered late, which resulted in a major problem during the Battle of Kursk, as crews were not used to it and their performance mechanically and due to the crew were lacking. After Citadel's failure, the German army was in permanent retreat in the east, though later variants of the Panther proved very effective against the Russian army, killing many tanks and proving to be an effective fighting machine. After the Normandy landings in June 1944, a new front had been opened up for the Panther to be used. The Panther proved mostly invulnerable against a 75mm gun-armed Sherman, however it was weak at the sides, being able to be destroyed by a 45mm gun, and from the front the Royal Ordnance 17-pounder mounted on the Firefly. It also showed weakness due to its width, which hampered manoeuvrability in the blockage of Normandy. It also took part in the 1944 Ardennes offensive, where it proved good, though it was weak to Allied air power once the weather had cleared up. The Panther's crew was set up just like the Tiger's, having 5 crew members being the commander, the gunner, the loader, the driver, and of course the bound machine gunner / radio operator. Crews enjoyed the benefits of the German over-engineering while in battle, with good armour, decent speed and an effective cannon. However, it was plagued by mechanical problems, which were an extra stress for crew and already stressful war. Personally, I believe that if the German army could have properly supplied the tank and spent the resources lost on projects like the Mouse and Jagdtiger, which were at the end of the day a stupid waste of time, on ironing out the issues with the Panther, such as the engine malfunctions, they could have made it an amazing tank. However, at the end of the day, they could have never supplied it with the tactical bombing campaign going on at home and the irreplaceable crews lost at the start of the war. And now I need to talk about the last video I made. It was about the Tiger, and I will admit there were many flaws. Some facts were slightly wrong, my opinion was slightly off, and I'm looking at it now and I disagree with myself like 4 days later, and the audio quality was horrible. But I hope I fixed many of these problems in this video. If you enjoyed, please give some feedback, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, goodbye.